Alright, what's going on, guys? This is my trade breakdown for the September 6th on Friday. So today I was able to catch on my last runner 155 points on NQ. First scale was around like 95 or 98, something like that. But I want to go over my trade breakdown and the thought process behind it. So let's get right into it. So we had NFP right at 830. And so initially we had some bullish manipulation. You can see open low candles sweeping this low at 630. Excuse all these drawings, but we took out that low, and we actually had or bullish SMT here. ES, you can see right here, failed to make a new low, while NQ actually took out the low at 3 a.m. Um, so after that, we came up 830, swept the low from 630, took out Asia high, which is right here. If you draw that out, you can see it was taken, and then kind of came back into the range. But so what I was looking at was after we had this big move higher, I wanted to see if price was able to get into some major areas of buy side liquidity to eventually take us lower. And so the draw was on the higher time frame. If you zoom out to the daily, you could see that price is, well, it was not at first, but if you draw this fib from high to low, you can see that price was not in a discount yet. And if you zoom in and make this a little larger, you can see that we have a daily volume imbalance here that was in a discount. So that's where I was anticipating price to go to. We zoom back into the 1 hour. These are all of our areas of interest. So first of all, I had Thursday's PM session high, and then we had Thursday's 10 a.m. data high. And if you look at ES, the same thing. On the 1 hour, you can see Thursday PM session high above midnight, and that is a classic turtle soup. You can see we took out this high at 8 o'clock, which was that 8:30 high, and Thursday PM session high. So we have an open, high, low close candle on the hourly above midnight, right? So we're in a deep discount or a deep premium of this range, and we know that our target low hanging fruit is 830 data low, and of course on NQ that daily volume imbalance, which is in a discount of the entire range. So zooming in further, we had SMT at the highs. We were inside of this 15-minute gap on NQ, and if you look at ES, you can see ES actually took out its Thursday PM session high and then immediately came back into the range. So if you look on the 1 minute, you can see how much displacement we got as soon as we took out this high, engulfed this entire up close candle, and then broke this low right here. Market structure shift with the fair value gap. You can see where price ends up bouncing from. Just a short term fair value gap here with midnight. Just retraces into a premium once again. How do you know if price is in a true breakout? If you have a low that gets broken with the fair value gap and then that fair value gap holds, that is a true breakout. And if I continue to play price, you can see price is continuing to stay, cannot close above the equilibrium, or of not the equilibrium, the CE of this gap, failing to get in this higher fair value gap, and then we get some displacement lower. Now, since we took the trade on NQ, we should be looking at NQ. So same thing occurred. We never took out that Thursday session PM high. So SMT there, major SMT there, displacement lower right here. And so once again, what do we have? On a lower time frame, we have this low here, which is where the actual CSD occurs because we closed below here. Fair value gap, low broken, fair value gap holds, displacement lower. What do we have again? Another low. More importantly, we have these order blocks. On a lower time frame, this is a fair value gap. Stabs into this 15-minute once again. Order block. Displaces lower. What do? We close below once again. So every single up close candle is acting as resistance, which is exactly what you want to see. Deep displacement lower. What do we have? We have a low here. We have a low over here. Every low that's getting broken with the fair value gap is holding. So what does that mean? Bearish order flow is being respected. What do we have here now? You can see that if you zoom out on the 5-minute, we get a 5-minute break of structure. And if you play another 5-minute candle, what do we have? We have a 5-minute FVG with midnight opening price, and now this is a bearish breaker. We have SMT at the highs, and we have London low being London high being swept, or not London, Asia high being swept. We have a unicorn setup here, and this is where I actually wanted to go short, but I wasn't entirely sure of my draw. So I was okay with missing this trade. But this was the best entry of the day by far, other than the turtle soup up here. But price came up, tapped into this unicorn setup, of course, rejected that. So this is where I was anticipating price to reject from, but I wasn't entirely sure. So I let this play out. What do we have? We have a turtle soup here into a key level above midnight, close below these last two up close candles. Now what do we have? We have a low broken with the fair value gap. Price is too weak to even get above there. You can see that price, this is the fair value gap that was holding price to begin with, right? To get up into here. So now once this fair value gap is closed below, this low is created. This low should now act as resistance. You can see that this candle right here at 950, the start of our macro, immediately rebalances this area. So now this should be your balance price range. And you can see what happens. The low of this candle acting as resistance multiple times. Now we break below. Once I saw this, I was completely sure of my draw on liquidity. And so instead of trying to zoom in and getting a 1-minute entry, I went to the 5-minute. And once we rejected this area up here, I knew obviously that the 830 low was going to be the lowest hanging fruit draw. So I was trying to get in. All I did was use this last up close candle, and I was using the opening price of the candle body just because the wicks are kind of large, and the body is what I normally typically like to focus on, especially since the upper wick wasn't as big. So I'm expecting this lower portion of the candle to act as resistance. So I went short right at the open, and you can see in this screenshot here, I went short on MNQ right here at 814. On NQ, the numbers are a little different, but you can see if I zoom in, price, boom, I went short right here at 814.50. So the entry was right here. Stop loss, I was using the high of the 5-minute order block just because I wasn't exactly sure if price was going to get into the 50% of this candle. So that's also where I was going to add more contracts. But of course, if you're really bearish, you don't really want to see this. But on NFP days, I do allow price to be a little more lenient. And we also had this swing high up here. So if it did want to come back into this, and we also had that BPR here to where if price just wanted to sweep this and then go lower, it could have. So that's why I was giving it more room, but I was going to add more contracts above this high, but it never got there. So we were only in like 5 points worth of drawdown, which is actually insane. Zooming in to the 1-minute time frame, you could have really had your stop above this balance price range or at this breakaway gap, so you could have had a little better risk to reward. But the first scale wasn't until 830 low. So even with our stop loss at the 5-minute order block high, you could see we're risking about 51 points. And so this is a 1.84 RR trade. First scale was at 94.5 points. Just the lowest hanging fruit. Yes, you could have waited for down here, but I knew that this was going to most likely give us some kind of reaction, especially since it was SMT with ES. ES was much stronger, and it was a lot harder for NQ or ES to get down to this 830 low than NQ was. So we don't need to be entirely greedy. We don't need to be trading for our egos. We're just trying to take profit at logical levels. So that's where my first two micro contracts were taken off. If I play price, you can see we just knifed through this low, and that's exactly what I wanted to see. As soon as we got this displacement, I knew I was completely on sides. And you can see here we got this reaction, right? Right into the 830 low, right into this low. This low here was still needed to be taken. And so price just kind of rejects here. And so once again, what are we looking for? We're looking for lows to be broken. This is the key low, right? This is the low that offered this retracement back up. What do we have? We have our low that is broken. What is created? A fair value gap. We have an order block up here, a low broken with the fair value gap. If this fair value gap holds, what is it? A true breakout. What do we have? Look at the candle bodies. Let me put on the CE of this. Once again, look at that. All we did was tap into the low of this order block, and we continued to sell off. Took a little bit here, but eventually knifed through, and then right into our take profit number 2. So what I did on MNQ was, since the volume imbalance daily, or the daily volume imbalance high was a little bit different than NQ's, you can see the open of this candle is at 44, and on NQ it's at 48.25. So as soon as I sent an alert for this low, or the high, the daily volume imbalance, as soon as I heard that go off, I just market sold, and you can see right here I got filled at 58.50, so like 14 points off or something like that from where I needed to be filled at, but I'm not going to be greedy over that. Wasn't entirely sure where price was going to bounce from, and this is a very logical level to take my last contract off. You can see this red line is that equilibrium of the range, so now we are trading in a discount area in a higher time frame PD array, so you always want to be taking profit off at those kind of areas. And that was the last runner that got hit, and you can see I was navigating, I was just tape reading while my runner was still active. You can see that this fair value gap, every fair value gap, every up close candle was holding price with a low broken, right? And you can see this low again, that same key low. Price tried to get up there during 1020, failed to do so, and then we traded lower, hitting all of our take profits. So if I draw out this tool, once again, we got filled at 814, stop loss up here, 51 points was our risk, 51.5 exactly. First take profit, 830 low, 1.84 trade. And then last TP was 58.50. So 3R trade on the last runner, 156 points bagged. $670 profit on 3 micro contracts. Wish I would have had my 6, but like I said, wasn't entirely sure. So I was comfortable with the risk that I put on, and that's the most important thing. I traded towards my draw. The risk to reward was there. Everything the trade I was completely okay with taking a loss on, and that's exactly how I want to be trading. But that's all the logic behind these trades. I took a 5-minute setup. I was just zooming in on the 1 minute to just see price respecting the PD arrays that I wanted it to, and that's all for this trade. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.